Hello everybody. So we are on page 44 in our workbook and we are starting modeling and solving equations and inequalities. So this first problem says Walter and Brian each have a CD collection. The number of CDs in Walter's collection can be represented by X. So I'm going to go ahead and make a note. So we have Walter is X. Okay, then it says the number of CDs in Brian's collection, Brian, is 3 times the number of Walter. So 3 times X, right? The total number, right? We had 3 times, we had X, right? So the total number is 144, okay? So that means I'm going to add Walter's collection and Brian's collection together to get 144, right? So this is Walter plus Brian equals total. Okay, so it says what is X? It's wanting me to solve for X, okay? So here I have 1x and here I have 3x. So let's imagine I always talk about bunnies, okay? So over here I have 1 bunny and here are 3 bunnies. How many bunnies do I have? Right? 1 bunny and 3 bunnies is 4 bunnies. So I have 4x is equal to 144. Well, if we get to this point, you guys know how to solve equations, right? We draw a line down our equal sign and we do the opposite operation to undo it. So right now this is saying 4 times x, or 4 times a number, equals 144. So this is multiplication. So I'm going to do the opposite. The opposite of multiply is divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. So I have 144 divided by 4. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 minus 2 is 2, so I have 24. 4 times 6 is 24. So that's 0. So x is equal to 36, right? So there's 36 is my question, right? Because it's saying what is X? So I'm going back to make sure, and it's the number in Walter's collection. So Walter's collection is X, right? So 36, that's my answer. If I want to go ahead and check my work, right, then these should add up to 144. So here I have 36, here I have 3x. So 36 times 3, 3 times 6 is 18, 3 times 3 is 9, 10. So 108 plus 36, 8 plus 6 is 4, 3, 4 is 144, right? So that all adds up and works out. So we made sure that we were correct. All right, so we're gonna move down on to page 45 and do this one example together at the top. So it says 2 teams are participating in a bird count. The blue team counted X birds. Okay, so I always write things out to the side because I think the words are a little confusing. So blue counted X. The red team counted twice as many as the blue team. Okay, so the red team, well, twice means 2 times, right? And they did it X times, so 2x. Together, which means we're adding, right? We're putting them together. The blue and red teams, right? So blue and red counted 72, okay? So I want you to go ahead and press pause and see if you can solve this one on your own. Okay, so the blue team was X, the red team was 2x, and that equals 72. So it's like a bird here, 2 birds over here. So there's 3 birds, 3x equals 72, because you're just adding the number in front. So it's like 1x, 1 plus 2 is 3, 3x. And then I have 72 divided by 3, 2 times 3 is 6, 12, 3 times 4 is 12. So x is equal to 24. And it is asking me for what is x, the number on the blue team. And I can always go back and check and make sure. So here I have 24. Here I have 2 times x, so 2 times 24 is 48. These should add together to get 4, 5, 6, 7, 72. All right, so guys, today is the first day we're gonna move away from our booklets and onto the page that I created for you. Okay, so in some of these problems we have simply solving equations and some we have modeling. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and review our steps for solving equations and inequalities, okay? So you can go ahead and make some notes if you want at the bottom of the previous page, in your notebook, or at the top of today's assignments, okay? But when you are solving equations, oopsies. Okay, so when you are solving equations, all right, we know that we draw our line down the equal sign because that reminds us to keep it equal. What we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So then from there, we are going to undo operations. And our first step is always going to be to add or subtract, okay? And you're going to do the opposite. So if there is addition in the problem, you're going to subtract. If there's subtraction in the problem, you're going to add, okay? Step 2 is always to multiply or divide, okay? So again, we are doing the opposite operation. So if there's multiplication in the problem, we're going to divide. And then if there's division, we're going to multiply. And the third step is we're always going to check our answer. Okay, so you're going to always plug it in and check it, okay? So that's with solving both equations and inequalities, okay? So there's one key thing to remember. In inequalities, if you multiply or divide by a negative number, flip the inequality. Okay, so for example, if I have negative 2x is greater than 6, okay? I am looking at the number with x. That is the number that determines if I'm going to flip the inequality sign, okay? It doesn't matter which this one is over here. It only matters the number with my variable, okay? So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. So x would be less than negative 3 because this number right here is negative, okay? So if I had done 3x is less than negative 12, well, I'm dividing by a positive 3, so I don't flip my sign, okay? So only if the number with x is negative, then you'll flip the sign. So even if it was x over negative 2 is less than or equal to 10, okay? I'm multiplying times negative 2 times negative 2, so I do have to flip the sign, greater than or equal to negative 20, okay? One additional piece of information, if the variable is on the right side, so let's say, for example, it was 8 is greater than 2x, okay? And I divide by 2 because I know I have to undo the operation, so it says 4 is greater than x, okay? Your variable will always end up being on the left. You have to get the variable back to the left, okay? So if I'm going to do that, I'm going to flip my inequality sign. So x is less than 4. And just remember that if the x is at the point, it has to stay at the point, okay? Because your answers will always have the variable on the left, okay? So now that you have some notes and a little reminder, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of problems, and then you guys are going to be super great on your own, okay? So number 1, you guys should be able to solve. Number 2, I know you guys don't like fractions, so I'll go ahead and do that one with you, okay? So I always draw the line down the equal sign, okay? I am trying to get x by itself, okay? My first step is always to add or subtract. So right in here, I see minus 12. So I need to undo it, so I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to do plus 12 on both sides, all right? When I have negative numbers here, I go ahead and write it off to the right because I need to make sure I get it right with the same sign, different sign, you know, my song. Same sign, add and keep, different sign, subtract. So different sign, subtract. So 12 minus 8 is 4. And I'm going to keep the sign of the bigger number, so the 12. So now I have 1/8 x is equal to 4, okay? So when you have a fraction here, right, remember that you are going to simply multiply by the reciprocal. If you have a fraction, you simply multiply by the flipped version, okay? So those of you, if you remember, if we would have ended up doing 4 divided by 1/8. Well, when we're dividing fractions, we keep it, we change it, and we flip it. So it's the same exact, oops, I didn't flip it. I was like, what is going on? Okay, sorry. And we flip it. Same thing as we did here. So if you have a fraction with your variable, you're going to multiply times the reciprocal or the flipped fraction, okay? So these cancel. 4 times 8 is 32. Look at that, okay? Then I'm going to plug it in to check it. You have no excuse. Make sure that you're getting it right, okay? So 1/8 times 32 over 1 minus 12. So 1 times 32 is 32. 1 times 8 is 8. 32 divided by 8 is 4. 4 minus 12. Well, I can't do that because the second number is bigger, so I have to add the opposite, or boom, boom. Different sign, so I subtract, and I keep the sign of the bigger number. So it's right. Okay. Now I'm going to look with you guys real quick at one of these inequalities here. And I just want to practice writing them, okay? So sometimes you guys struggle with writing the inequality from the model. So often there's going to be a key, but here I thought it was pretty easy for you to tell what things are. So these are our variables. These are x's. So we're going to take how many x's are there? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 x's. And then here it just says 1, so it's a positive 1. So we have 1, 2, 3. So we're adding 3 to the 6x, and we're saying it's less than or equal to, then I'm going to count all these over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Less than or equal to 15, okay? So now you guys know how to solve it. Just go ahead and draw your line down the inequality sign, just like you do with an equal sign. Step 1 is add or subtract. Step 2 is multiply or divide. And then you're going to check your answer, okay? All right, so you guys need to go ahead and finish the rest of the page today and turn it in for your grade. Don't forget to ask if you have questions, and good luck. You'll do great.